Good evening and welcome to This Week in Review. Tonight's stories include St. John's Central High Oast Ladies Softball Tournament, display at the Calder Healthcare Centre on Cancer Awareness, results of a survey by the Employment Outreach Office. These stories plus community events, the BBS Playbill, Off the Rack and more coming up after this.
It takes community to heal a village. In northern Mali, USC Canada works with local partners to find community-based ways to ensure mother-child health, food security, and jobs. Canadian agencies are helping to renew and strengthen communities throughout the developing world. This means greater opportunities for global villagers. Canadians in partnership, finding solutions that work.
St. John's Central High School hosted the Ladies Softball Tournament on Saturday, October the 12th. The SJCH Storms played one other team, E.A. Butler from McKay's. Our girls played exceptionally well, but the competition was tough. However, they did win both games they played. The score of the first game was 12-8 for the SJCH Storms. The second game was 11-10, with the SJCH Storms victorious as well. The team will now proceed to the provincial tournament in Lamoline on October the 24th to the 27th to be a 3A regional representatives. The SJCH Storms are Kayla Cloger, Jennifer Ann, Santana Parsons, Gabrielle Pink, Ashley Lushman, Brittany McDonald, Helen McDonald, Dana Sims, Donna Sims, April Strickland, Ingrid Strickland, and Alicia Vatcher. Coaches for the Storms ladies team are Doris Pink and Grace Abbott. We congratulate the SJCH Storms on their great success and best wishes for the upcoming provincial tournament. We also thank BBS volunteer Megan Foote for this story as well as the great footage. On Tuesday of this week, the public health nurse invited us to drop by the Calder Healthcare Centre to view the display she had set up on cancer awareness. This display was set up to promote breast health. There are many pamphlets and the public is encouraged to drop by and pick up any that may interest them. While you are there, please fill out the trivia contest on cancer. You may have a chance to win one of these beautiful prizes: coffee mugs, pins, or this woman's health diary. Some of the pamphlets include this new one called Cancer Facts for Women, breast self-examination, bookmarks, women's health fact sheet, questions about cancer. When you wanted to know more about cancer, including a toll-free number. The public health nurse has taken many of these pamphlets and put them on display in the staff room at St. John's Central High School. Staff at the school will have a chance to win a prize as well. However, this contest is only open to staff at the school. The public health nurse also asked us to remind our viewers about the breast health information session. If you haven't already done so, please call Darlene at 886-3360, Brenda at 886-2121, or Glinda at 886-3306 to have your name added to the list. We have the results of a survey that was done recently by the Employment Outreach Office. This survey was done to get a clear picture of what fish plant workers, trawler persons, and inshore fisher persons have been doing in the employment sector since the plant closed. The client list was used for this survey and was completed by the Outreach Employment Office staff on October the 9th. There were a total of 515 people on the list. The breakdown looks like this: 74 unemployed, 19 deceased, 5 currently completing training, 68 retired from the fishing industry. There were 349 currently working full-time or seasonal. 48 of these 349 are working in full-time employment and still living in Burgeo. 177 are working in seasonal employment / EI and still living in Burgeo. 55 are working in the inshore fishery. 12 are working in self-employment and still living in Burgeo. 57 have relocated from Burgeo and are working in other areas. The outreach staff add a further breakdown of the 177 working in seasonal employment, EI, and still living in Burgeo. 61 of this 177 are working in seasonal employment within Burgeo. 116 are working in seasonal employment outside of Burgeo. They broke this 177 into groups and found that 31 are working at seismic, 48 are working at other fish plants, 12 are fishing, 18 are working on farms, 14 are working with outfitting, and 54 was in the other category. The outreach staff felt this survey was very positive and gave a clear picture of the employment situation in our community concerning the fish plant workers. Remember, there were 515 on the TAG's eligibility list, and 349 of these people are currently working full-time or seasonal. Thanks to the Outreach Office for giving us the result of this very interesting survey. Stay tuned for more of This Week in Review coming up after this.
In West Africa, when rain is scarce, crops fail, forcing rural people to move to cities in search of a means to provide for their families. With the help of USC Canada, villagers in northern Mali are fighting the pressure to leave with projects focused on market gardens, small credit schemes, and improved soil conservation methods. Help the people of Mali fight back against desertification and drought. Support USC Canada today.
Greg Yeager stopped by on Wednesday of this week for the BDDB update. We have with us in our studio again Greg Yeager from the BDDB. Welcome once again, Greg.
Thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure.
Yes, and I'm sure you'll give us some interesting stuff to discuss. Let's start off with NewTel staffing.
Yeah, as everybody in the community is aware, the previous full-time staff member that was stationed here in regards to NewTel has retired in July, and since that time actually the community as well as other communities in this region have actually been serviced by a part-time individual coming back and forth from either Stephenville or Port-aux-Basques, and at times they've had 2 or 3 individuals here. It was noted at our last board meeting that what is going to be the role of NewTel in terms of fulfilling that position again, whether it be full-time or on a part-time basis, and whether or not we're going to have somebody stationed here regularly to be able to take care of any calls or any problems as it relates to communications in NewTel. So the board decided what they would do was write NewTel in regards to the situation, and Mr. Vic Simmons, who's a regional manager for NewTel in Corner Brook, was contacted, and we basically requested that we felt from our perspective, the individual services for communities, that there should be another full-time position reinstated here in Burgeo, station here, of course, to service the region. To this date, we haven't heard any official word back, but from our understanding in discussions with people in NewTel, it's actually costing them right now substantial dollars to have people come back and forth, stay in hotels and that kind of stuff. And while it's good economically on one hand, it certainly won't be good in the middle of winter. On the other hand, if we have communications problems with NewTel, and obviously we can't get somebody in here to correct them very expediently. So the board's position is certainly could be a downgrading service again, and we felt that the position should be reinstated full-time, and hopefully NewTel will go along with that and hopefully put a position here.
So it wasn't a case of just someone retired and they didn't have the staffing to put back down here, or was it that that they saw that Burgeo didn't need a full-time employee?
No, I think what it was or still is a process of evaluating how much work and how much activity is actually down here to possibly justify a full-time position. It's just like with government or any other corporate agency. I mean, once somebody retires or actually, finds another employment position, the first thing to do is evaluate it and say, what is the benefits here, and do we really justify having another full-time position? But from all indications, we've had upwards of 2 or 3 people from Newtel down here at one time since the previous employees retired. So I think from all indications there, hopefully that we'll see a full-time, permanent position back here in Burgeo in short order.
Okay. Now, last time you were in, we talked about the linkages program, and that's off and running, I understand.
Yes, it is. Yeah, we have 4 actually clients that are working with the coordinator, who's Teresa Peterson, and we have 1 located in Ramsey right now working with Newfoundland Aqua Products, and there's 3 individuals working in Burgeo. One's with the Calder Healthcare Corporation, another one is working with Sibley's Ambulance Services, and another one we have placed with Gillette's Motel. So we're really pleased with things that have moved forward. It's been about 2 weeks into the program now, and certainly the employment placement partners seem to be very pleased with the activities. We have managed, one of the major goals of the program is to try and match our clients with their potential long-term career goals, achievements or plans, and it appears in just about all of these that we've managed to do that. So we're very pleased with the placements. Our clients are very pleased with it, and hopefully we'll get the success rate that we did out of last year's program. So right now we're certainly moving forward with that, and hopefully we'll achieve the success that we anticipate.
Very good. Now I understand through our community channel that the tourism dinner is on the go again, and you got your tourism committee right down here, so you want to elaborate a little bit more on that?
Yeah, the tourism committee obviously is in full force again. It started up in September, and of course one of the major initiatives is to host the annual tourism dinner. Last year we had about 80 people in attendance, and we're hoping again this year we'll get good support from the community and the region as a whole. We have Mr. Jerry Murphy, who's a fairly well-known radio personality, who's going to be our guest speaker that night. And of course, combined with that, this year we will be having a dance at the end, because when we kind of wrapped up the festivities, if you want, last year, people said, it would have been nice to be able to mix and mingle and spend some more time socializing, so we decided we'd include that in. The other aspect that we've done this year is we're always looking at human resource development as it relates to the tourism industry and just general service sector as a whole. So right now we also have planned a 3-hour workshop, which is scheduled for that Saturday, the next day. From about 12:30 to 4:30 in the afternoon. It's going to be put on by Hospitality Newfoundland and Labrador, and of course it'll be sponsored by the BDDB. And the registration fee is $25 per person, and it's actually on time management, skill development. So it can be, certainly it's really geared towards, if you want, the tourism sector, but certainly anybody in business or anybody in a management type of position would certainly avail of this 3-hour program. We did an evaluation of about 6 different training opportunities, and we felt that at this point in time this would certainly be a generic one that would benefit a lot of people in the community, not just in the tourism sector. We're also working on an ornament. For the last 3 years, the Festival Coast Tourism Association has been putting out commemorative ornaments on different sub-regions of our zone, the Festival Coast Tourism Association. They did one for Port-au-Port a couple of years ago. They did one for Stephenville last year, and this winter coming up they're actually doing one on Bay St. George. So next year is actually our turn, and Derek Mercer has graciously consented to donate his time to actually design an ornament for us. He's got it in the preliminary stages, and actually it'll incorporate Sandbanks Provincial Park with Lighthouse as well as the Gallipoli, so it kind of gives us the whole southwest coast feel. So he showed us some preliminary drawings last week, and I think it's going to look really nice when it's done. It's used for 2 focuses. Festival Coast use it obviously as a fundraiser for their organization, but it also helps us in promoting the various different sub-regions of the zone in terms of tourism. So they usually print, I think it's about 1,000, and each year they haven't had any problems to sell those ornaments.
So you're talking ornament as in a Christmas decoration, or something that you could just hang in your window? Or?
Yeah, you can actually, what they are is they're made of pewter, and you can actually get them on a mount, and you can put them on your shelf or on display. You can also hang them on the Christmas tree. You know, they're not that heavy that you can't do it. and you can use them in lots of different ways. You know, give out as Christmas gifts, that kind of stuff. So it's really nice, and they've been done very professionally. The Our Lady of Mercy Church in Port Peninsula was the first one they did, and it's beautiful. It totally depicts the church right down to the last detail, and so we felt that it was important for us down in this region. We actually had a meeting with some people in the other parts of the zone and other communities, and that's the design that we came up with. So certainly working hard in that area to try and promote the Southwest Coast. The other thing that we've done is there's a bi-monthly newsletter that's developed by the Festival Coast Tourism Association, supposedly promoting the whole region. And right now we've submitted 2 or 3 articles on the Burgeo area, and hopefully they will be in the next newsletter, because anyway we can get promotion, and we feel it's certainly of benefit to us down here.
Okay, now you're to take a step back. Your tourism dinner, that is open to anybody in the public?
It is so, actually. Each member of the tourism committee, there's 10 individuals, have tickets, as well as we have tickets at our office, and it's open to anybody. You don't have to be a tourism operator or business operator. If somebody's interested, coming along, seeing what tourism is all about. We will have various different displays set up and things related to Burgeo and the tourism sector, so it's certainly an opportunity for people to come along and find out what's really happening in Burgeo as it relates to the promotion and development of tourism in our area. There's a lot of things happening that people kind of don't acknowledge, even as simple as like the Sand and Sea Festival, believe it or not, is a major tourism attraction. It brings down hundreds and hundreds of people, and people just view it as it's a community special event with a day off. Well, in reality, it's not. It's done wonders in promoting Burgeo as a tourism destination, and they continue to do a fantastic job. So those types of events are actually things that are actually tourism related that sometimes we don't even acknowledge are happening in the community. So it's a good way to find out what's happening and plans that the tourism committee have for the future. One thing, that we will be doing at the dinner as well is the tourism committee has been formed for about 2 years, and it's nice to get some direction what people feel, things you could be doing. It's okay as a group to sit down and kind of set some priorities for yourself. But we're actually, the participants at the dinner that night are going to be given a questionnaire, and it'll be basically ticks and thoughts, and it's no right or wrong answers in that, but basically what we're trying to do is compile some information to give the tourism committee some future direction in where it should be going in terms of maybe infrastructure development, best ways to promote tourism outside of Burgeo, attendance at trade show, more brochures, more advertising in newspapers, more radio advertising, et cetera, et cetera. So really what we're trying to do from the people that will be at that function is actually get some of their feelings on thoughts on how we should move forward in terms of tourism development in this region. So it'll certainly add the plus of people be able to provide some input and give the tourism committee some more guidance and direction. Okay,
well, it sounds interesting. You have shed development. Recently we did just a short story for the Seacrest people, and they alluded to some of the incentives that you're in going on out there. So you want to fill us in on some of those?
Yeah, working again in conjunction with the BDDB and Town Council, we've managed to now get funding approval in the amount of $85,000 to put an expansion onto the existing government shed, which is, as you know, being occupied by Seacrest. We're building a structure that'll be approximately 30 by 75. It'll have 2 stories in it, and we're looking at the end of the day to house hopefully a number of different initiatives we've been working on. The Sea Urchin Initiative is back on the table. We had a major meeting with Mr. Jerry Byrne about 3.5 weeks ago, and it looks like that initiative has certainly come full circle, and we're hoping that by the time the addition is put on the building, then a sector of that facility will be earmarked and is presently earmarked for the development of the sea urchin industry in Burgeo, and we'll try and move that one forward. The other area we're working with it's a business that's located out of town right now, but we're looking at developing a business plan and working towards them coming into Burgeo. They're looking at upwards of potentially operating probably starting next May or June, and that could see approximately 10 to 12 full-time year-round jobs, both in the manufacture and distribution, receiving and distribution sector of the company and their business. It's one of those things that we're in the business plan stages right now, but it's an established company. They've been on the go for a substantial period of time. They do have some major ties in Burgeo, and we can see the rationale of why they would like to relocate in this area. They're looking at consolidating their business ventures and putting them together. And Burgeo looks like a key spot for them to be able to do it. So once we get the business plan done and things move forward, certainly we'll provide more details in that area as we go along. But The other part of it, obviously, is we've also received funding to put a ferry terminal up, so that'll all form part of this development as well. And that'll service the Francois Grey River Ferry, as well as the Ramia Ferry, and of course the Grand Brett Ferry. So I mean, travelers now will actually have somewhere to get in on the cold, and hopefully, you know, warm, nice seating and things of that nature, instead of just kind of hanging around outside the ferry waiting for it to come in or that kind of stuff. So it'll certainly be nice to see the hub of activity with Seacrest down there as well, and you know, the things that they're planning to do. I think we can certainly move a few things forward, hopefully in the next year. We're hoping to start development the 28th of October, and it'll be roughly for an 8-week period. So we'll certainly be advertising for a number of positions within the next week or two to try and get this thing moved forward and constructed before Christmas.
Excellent. A lot of positive things going on. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, I think that pretty well covers it for now. I guess the only thing that I will add, and we talked about before we went on the air, is that you know, we do have still a number of vacancies on the board. And certainly the board at its last meeting had a general discussion on it, and the feeling was, well, we can't drag anybody in off the street. But certainly it's one of those things that, you know, we are working in partnership with a number of different agencies. We do need input from people from the community, and it certainly would be great to have, I guess, if you want some fresh new faces, kind of to sit around the table and bring some of their ideas and thoughts to the direction we should be going in terms of economic development. And the board would certainly welcome a call from anybody who would like to volunteer their services. The board meets usually once a month, every month throughout the year, and then of course there's an odd special meeting and maybe subcommittee that somebody might have to sit on. So really it might take probably 4 or 5 hours of somebody's time a month in terms of actual physical sitting down and having to attend meetings, and other than that, it depends on how much they want to get involved in the board and put things forward. But we certainly encourage anybody in the community. There is 3 seats open that might wish to get involved, to give us a call and or talk to our chairman, Mr. John Grant.
And thanks very much for coming in today.
Always a pleasure to be here. Thank you, Marie.
On Wednesday of this week, the Canadian AF Points was at the school doing a presentation called Don't Tease. These individuals travel all across Canada with their message, Don't Tease. The presentation was started with Coach Rusty telling a little about their group and introducing their members. There were 5 members: Coach Rusty, Bruno King, Jackie J., Richard Conrad, and Terry Aris. Terry wasn't with them because he was sick. Coach Rusty did tell us that Terry was over 7 feet tall and wore a size 22 shoe. Coach Rusty talked to the students about how he used to tease others when he was growing up. He later came to realize how teasing hurts the other person. Richard Conrad also shared what it was like for him growing up. Then it was a question and answer period. Many of our students took advantage and asked some really interesting questions. Then the Canadian AF Points challenged some of our teachers and students to a game of basketball. The students really enjoyed this part of the presentation. Mr. Linehan also got a reward for playing too rough. After the presentation, we spoke to Richard Conrad about the Don't Tease program.
Richard.
Good day. Playing for the Canadian Half Pints, our main goal is to see as many kids as we can in the run of a year in Canada and the United States to teach them our ever so important message of the Don't Tease program. The reason we're finding it more and more important is we're finding bullying and teasing to become a bigger problem in society these days, with incidences such as Columbine and Tabor, Alberta, where kids who were teased lashed out against fellow classmates and staff of the schools, and we don't want to really see that again. And a lot of people we know through just traveling with the team never got really a chance to finish high school or finish high school at the age they were supposed to because they were teased so much that they would leave it just because it wasn't worth their while, and they'd end up finishing high school at a later date through like correspondence or something like that. And that's one of the main reasons we developed the Don't Tease program. And our team, being an average height of 4'3", our players have been teased majority of their life. Like, we have a guy from Russia who's on our team, and living in Russia, it's a very different society than here in North America, and he was treated pretty much as if he was the bottom of the barrel. And moving to Canada, he enjoyed it so much, he tells me every day he goes for a walk just to see if somebody's going to tease him. And it doesn't happen every day, but every day after work you could tell if he was being teased, if he got teased. And that's one of the main reasons we started the Don't Tease program, is because nobody deserves to live life like to be teased every day, to have to go to school and not look forward to it just because they know some kids there are going to pick on them, when really there's no need of it and it shouldn't be happening. And the way we've been doing that, well, we go in, we do our Don't Tease program, as you've seen on video or you'll see clips of, and we use our size difference is an attention grabber for the kids. Like, being small, if a principal comes up in front of a big group of children and tries to get them just to be quiet for a minute, it might take them 2 minutes to do. If I go up in front of the kids and just look at them funny, they're going to be quiet right away, which is a great tool just to be able to use it to teach our message. And with our program, we do a lot of comedy in it just to get the kids to realize that people with differences, such as being small, are the same as everybody else, and you can have fun. Like, one of the things, it's kind of like a trick in the kids. We ask the kids who, if they think we're a fun bunch of guys, every kid puts up their hand. We ask the kids if they'd like an opportunity to spend a half a day with one of the guys, and every kid wants to spend a half a day with us. And then we say, third question, after that half day, would you look past the differences in between you and one of the players and be happy to have them as your new friend? And then when everybody answers yes, we turn around and say, well, the next time you think about teasing, you just told us that if you'd spend a half a day with a person, you'd probably look past their differences. So if you're teasing someone, it's normally because they're different than you. If you spend a half a day with that person, you look past their differences. And kids, not the fact that they're going to go and spend the half day with the kids that they tease or something, or they don't know much about, but they see the idea that people with differences, like, that's why you're making fun of somebody, is because they're different than you, and you have to make just look past the differences. And one of our messages for that is we say, what if everybody in the world was the exact same? It'd be a boring place. Nobody'd want to talk to anybody because everybody'd know everything about everybody. Like if I had the same interests as everybody, I had the same color hair, everybody was the same height, everything was the exact same, you'd have no differences. And the kids kind of picture that in their mind, the fact that, well, if nobody was different, there'd be no reason to talk. And that's why we get them to appreciate the differences in between people instead of make fun of the differences in between people. And really, I hate seeing kids being teased.
Now, you go around and Rusty was telling us that you visit a lot of schools. Do you get any feedback from any of the schools or any of the people saying that you've made a difference?
Last year we got 1 million emails approximately. Now, once you're up there, you lose track of a couple here and a couple there, but I believe it was around 1 million emails we received from kids all across the country. Just, you've made a difference. I get it every day. Every single day, I could probably pick out those kids in the audience that I know that it's really hitting. Like, even if we see 500, or today we're probably going to see over 1,000 kids. And if we get 2, it makes a difference.
Makes a difference.
If we get 1, it makes a difference, because that 1 might be that kid who is going to drop out of school because he's being teased so bad. He had a rough week, and maybe he doesn't want to go to school anymore. Maybe he's the kid who's going to become a doctor and make a cure to something, and you never want to miss that opportunity. It's, like we say, another thing that we have on our sheet, on the back of our shirts, is attitude is everything. And with attitude is everything, if you don't show the right attitude towards everybody else, nobody's going to show the right attitude towards you. So attitude's everything, because your attitude affects the way the attitude towards you is. So we've done a lot of schools, like a lot of schools. I mean, I try and think, like today we had a kid who said, oh yeah, we were at your school, and you tell us about one of our players, one of the stories about a guy being put in a locker upside down. And just to try and remember that school is almost near impossible, just because of the amount of schools we go to in the run of it. Like today's 2 schools, which is a rather easy day for us. Normally we do 3 up to 4, sometimes it's 5, depending on the timing and the closeness, which is a good thing. The more kids we see, the better. But I mean, one of our goals is to be able to see every kid in the country once a year, to keep influencing them and reminding them that teasing and bullying are such serious topics. And I mean, it's overlooked by a lot of people. It's not considered a topic, that they'd rather see no fighting in schools or the no weapons. Well, if you have no teasing and no bullying, you're not going to have any fighting. It's one of the, the first steps to all problems, I find, in just personal experience. Teasing leads to a lot of different things. So, and I mean, it's not all we do. Our team also, we have a big tour right now. We have a promoting company that hired our team to go on tour and do a fundraising tour. And what we do with that is we'll raise money for charities such as MAD or RCMP or any firefighters. We did one for missing children in Kingston. We did one for the Dolphin Swim Club in Trenton, Ontario, just because they were losing the membership and they needed something that was going to be fun and make some money, and get interest in there. That's what a lot of the companies or fundraisers we do, is to bring interest to a certain fundraiser or charity or something like that. That's another aspect of our team.
Okay, so it's not you're not just going around the schools talking about don't tease, but you're also offering your services to other service organizations and community.
To the communities. Like in Kingston, we offered our service, just a fundraiser opportunity for the missing children, and it was that charity was quite popular at the moment, just because through the summer this year there was numerous missing children in the United States and all throughout Canada, so it was a bigger name charity, so it did quite well. The Dolphin Swim Club, it had all the support in the town of Trenton, it just nobody was showing their support, and then we got them all out to show the support. We do other fundraisers, like I did one for the firefighters in Fernie, British Columbia. It was one of the memorable shows I did a few years ago, and I can't remember the exact amount of money we made, because you do a tour and you get play a game every night. It's a different size check for each fundraiser, but I mean, just unreal how appreciative the people are of what we did for them. I mean, it makes you feel good at the end of the day when you can go home and go to bed and say, but we just help this group out, and I help this kid out. Even if, like I said, with the amount of schools, you see 1,000 kids, if you make the difference with one, you make the difference. Because I mean, he might be the kid who picks on 8 different children, and you might have said, wow, you really made me realize that I wouldn't bug you guys, I wouldn't tease you guys are pretty cool. Well, if you won't tease us, please don't tease anybody else.
Okay, well thank you very much for speaking with us today.
Oh, my pleasure.
Now over to Mayor Ann with the council report.
Good evening. Burgeo Town Council report from our regular meeting held on Wednesday, October the 16th of 2002. We had a very good meeting. We had 7 members in attendance, which is a full council, which was very good to see. And the first hour of our meeting was taken up with, we met with some people from Municipal Affairs and from Atlantic Engineering regarding the phase 2 of our water treatment system. From the Department of Municipal Affairs, we had an engineer, Mr. Dan Ines, and then from Atlantic Engineering, we had Mr. Don DeCesar and Mr. Ian Hosman. And as you know, I reported to you earlier that tenders for phase 2 of the water treatment plant came in way over the estimates, over $500,000 to $600,000 more than it was estimated. The council, in looking over the tenders and the estimates, it was quite plain, quite clear to see that it was a complete completely full of errors by the engineers. You know, there was, it was ridiculous that the estimates were so much off the mark. Therefore, we dealt with these 3 people in question and asked them what our options were. One of the options which was put forward to us was to re-tender the contract. In other words, rather than having one contract and then having it all being subcontracted out after, they felt that there might be some savings if we went to retender all different portions of it, such as retender the mechanical, retender the electrical, and have everything, little contracts coming in for everything. If this was done, it was, in Atlantic Engineering's estimate anyway, it would delay the completion of the water treatment system by at least a year. So, needless to say, this did not sit well with our council. The other option open to us was the awarding of the contract to the lowest bidder, which was Brooks Engineering. That's by the tender which have already been accepted, which have already been called. Now, even with this one, we're probably looking at a 6-month delay or more in the completion of the project. However, after weighing the pros and cons of this, it was council's position that this was probably the better route for us to go. Along with that, we had some discussions with our MHA and others, and it was council's position, like I say, to award the contract to the lowest bidder. And it was our position that, being it was an engineering mistake, then the town of Burgeo should not be on the hook for any more money with regard to this project coming into the year 2003. If this project is completed, the cost of operation of this new treatment plant is going to be considerably more. And given that you got a $600,000 overrun, that would mean that the engineer will be picking up an extra $80,000. As council saw it, council should not be on the hook for any more money. We didn't make the mistake, it was the engineer. In my discussions with Mr. Parsons, he says that the provincial government is going to pick up the cost overrun. However, they too agree that there would be no additional money for the engineer. However, they want to take it right off the total amount, and then Burgeo would be on for the cost sharing arrangement as was in phase 1, which means that we're on the hook for another $70,000 to $80,000. So this didn't go well with the Burgeo Town Council. We're not pleased about it. And I guess if push comes to shove, I guess we'll have to absorb it some way. But you know, it's putting extra load on the town with regard to the operation, and then another 80,000 thrown in, which we weren't contemplating. So therefore, it was our position, and there was a motion in council that we would request the Department of Municipal Affairs to award the contract to the lowest bidder. The government will pick up the complete overrun. We're asking them to pick up the complete overrun. The engineer will forfeit what they got, what they would get as a result of the order tender being granted, and we feel that the government should look at this as being Burgeo's share, and that would be it. So I don't know how we're going to make out with that. We're going to push it. We're going to push it darn hard, because looking at some of the things which we've seen, you know, here in Burgeo, we've seen some towns being treated a whole lot better than the town of Burgeo gets treated. And I can assure you that one of those towns is not that far from Burgeo, you know, with new water systems and so on and so forth. If you want to just delve into it and see, you know, you can see who's receiving the best deal in this arrangement with government. So this time Burgeo's asking for a little bit of cream to be put on our pie also. So with that, the three gentlemen, after dealing with that thing, we brought up, it was brought up the part of our water lines. We're being on boil orders and so on. And there was a discussion held with regard to disinfecting our lines after the new system do come on stream. And also we discussed the part of where we had made applications for new hydrants to be installed, especially at the end of the lines, so that it will aid the flushing of the line. So the engineers advised us that this is in the system, it's moving through, it's $40,000 extra. We're requesting from Municipal Affairs for this, and it's working its way through just where it was. Mr. Rhines couldn't tell us at this time, but he said it is in there. And you know, there's no reason to believe that somewhere down the line that won't be approved. With regards to the government shed, as I know many of you know by this time, that the work is continuing there. And also plans have been formalized, funding have been obtained for expansion of that building. This is a joint venture between the town and the BDDB, and I feel that the expansion, it's estimated now, work could commence there around the end of October. So you know, it's going to be a larger building. We do not have occupants for all of the building, so it's a shell to a certain extent. And the reason for not being finished inside and so on would be because we don't know who will be going there. And so, you know, it would be crazy to do it up for one thing and then someone could move in there, so the way that you would have it done wouldn't suit. So this building now, I suppose the only way to look at it is almost like economic development building that will be there should someone come along with the necessary or something that will create a few jobs in Burgeo, or if things should come that Seacrest would need expansion, or if the sea urchin thing, which has been on the table and off the table, on and off from time to time, if that should come about. We just look at the building as a sort of, I suppose you call it like, similar to an industrial park. If someone is out there and needs something that's going to create some jobs in Burgeo, well then, rather than saying we got nothing to offer, the town of Burgeo would have something to offer. So that's where we are on that one. The town manager informed us with regard to the roof over the rink thing that the rink committee have decided that they would like to go ahead with a building with no provisions for artificial ice. And after our meeting with that committee, we told them that the council would respect their wish and go whichever way they wanted. So apparently application has been completed for that. So I think we probably may have heard the end of that for a while anyway. The boil order, we're very pleased to report that we're no longer on a boil order. I hope that's the last one for this year, and hopefully the new system will be on before we get into this thing again. And I know it's been quite an inconvenience to the residents, but that's the best we could do. We did the best we could, and I'm glad to report that we're now off the boil order. Regarding the schools, some time ago I reported to you about Council expressed to the Department of Education that we weren't pleased with the outcropping of rock which was over there in front of the new school, and we thought that that was the end of it. We did receive a letter from Judy Foote who says the outcropping will not remain as it presently is, and when there's more landscaping taking place, they will try to improve or accommodate that. And just what they're going to do, I don't know. But anyway, apparently they're still looking at that and plans on doing something with it. A councillor brought up about the garbage containers, and you know, I must say it is getting a bit sickening, and it's certainly showing a lot of, I would call it, immaturity on the part of some young people here in the town. You know, you've proved to the people, you've proved to the town that you could tip the things over and so on, and you've done it several times, and you know, you've made your point, you've proved your point. Now, I think it's time for you to give it up. You know, the people, the residents of Burjo is getting a bit sick of it, especially after the last weekend, all the complaints that came into the town, and just general discussion among the residents. They're very, very upset over it. And with that, you know, we will be reporting it to the RCMP, and you can be certain there will be efforts made to now catch whoever's doing this. And you know, it seems a crazy thing, but we've got nothing left, no other choice now but do this. So I would ask you, give it up before you get yourself in trouble. And the end of the meeting, we had approval for payment of invoices in the amount of $8,943.46, and with that we had adjournment. There's just one other thing I would pass on, and I pass this on behalf of our MP, Bill Matthews. Bill will be in Burjo to attend the Memorial Day services on November the 11th. That's his present plan anyway, so he informs me. And he will be laying a wreath at the War Memorial this year on behalf of the Government of Canada. So that's it from Council, and we'll see you sometime next month. Thank you.
Stay with us for Off the Rack, the community events, and the BBS Playbill, all after this.
Communication is the beginning of understanding, and understanding is the basis for problem solving. USC Canada believes communication should know no borders. A farmer's field in Ethiopia offers innovation for old problems in Nepal. A community seed bank in Bangladesh sparks ideas for one in Mali. All over the developing world, Canadians in global partnership, finding solutions that work.
Off the Rack. This week, as we scanned our tape rack, we came across a tape of this year's grade class during their kindergarten graduation. Let's look back to June 1991.
good evening. Welcome to the community event segment of tonight's broadcast. I'm Rebecca Young. The winner of the minor hockey TV bingo was Lily Han. Congratulations, Lily. The Burgeo Lions Club will host the next TV bingo on Wednesday, October 23rd at 7 p.m. Cards are $1 each, or $6 or $5, and are available from any member of the Lions Club and are in most stores around town. Please support the Lions, play a TV bingo, and you could be the next $300 winner. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. To promote awareness of this very important topic, the public health nurse, in conjunction with the facilitators from the Canadian Cancer Society, is planning on conducting an information session to promote breast health. Anyone interested in attending, please call Darlene Strickland at 886-3360, Brenda Strickland at 886-2121, or Glenda Ricketts at 886-3306. The congregation of Faith United Church are reminded of a very important meeting on Monday, October 21st at 6:30 p.m. in the church. It is very important that every household be represented, because we will be discussing the renovations to the church hall. The BDDB, in partnership with Hospitality Newfoundland and Labrador, will be hosting a 3-hour time management skills workshop on Saturday, November 16th at 12:30 p.m. It costs $25 per person. For more information or to register, please contact the BDDB office at 886-2302. The Tourism Committee still have tickets available for the upcoming tourism dinner and dance on Friday, November 15th at the Community Center. Tickets cost $12.50 each and are available from any Tourism Committee member or by contacting the BDDB office at 886-2302. Residents are advised that as of October 16th, the boil order has been removed from the town's water supply. On Tuesday, October 22nd, there will be a prayer workshop from 2:30 to 4:30 p.m. at the parish hall. This workshop will be conducted by 2 missionaries from South Africa. This informative workshop is open to everyone who would like to attend. Are you interested in completing the competence course for boat safety? If so, please call 886-3367 and leave your name and number. The course costs $60 and takes 10 hours to complete. You will need this course in order to operate a boat less than 13 feet in length. If your group organization has an upcoming event planned, we would be happy to advertise it for you. Just call the BBS office by Wednesday of each week to have items included in this portion of our broadcast. That concludes the community event segment of tonight's broadcast. See you next week.
BBS Playbill. Try your luck on Wednesday by playing Burgeo Lions Club TV Bingo. Join Pansy and the gang for 2 stories, a craft, and lots of fun on Saturday morning at 11 a.m. on Pansy's Garden. And I'll be here again next week with This Week in Review. For This Week in Review, I'm Marie Rose. Good night and God bless.